to restart it in order to see
Oh,
broadcast meeting.
there it
Zoom.
goes.
And
Yeah,
there
it
it
shows
goes.
it now.
Yep, and now we're good. To restart it in order to see broadcast meeting. Zoom.
Yeah, it shows it now.
Yep, and now we're good. To restart it in order to. Okay, now I paused it, but it should stay on there. And that there means YouTube.
Yeah, it looks like it's still streaming. So I
Okay.
think I think all's well.
Okay. All's well that ends well. Good. Okay. Well, hey, life is potentially good again. Welcome all. Hey,
Yes.
how are you guys doing tonight? Good. Brent, Jane, Leslie, Tim, Becky, and Patty are all on the my 5-day challenge. So, yeah. So thank you all for showing up and being incredibly supportive. That's wonderful. Super cool. So anyway, so
Get started
I'm
tonight?
sorry.
I said, are we ready to get started?
Yeah, I was just going to hand it over to you, Patty, and say
Okay.
we're good to go.
Okay, well, one of the things I want to just start with before we get to our introduction is this business challenge. We're 2 days into it, and it has such excellent content, such excellent usable content that we're actually able to experience right during the challenge. Um, People are experiencing shifts in 24 to 48 hours. It's really thrilling and exciting to be able to watch. So if you've missed this one, I'd encourage you to get a hold of Blair at blair@rewiringthemind.com and put yourself on a waiting list for the next one, because this has really been very powerful. We do have the My Model Method Coach training coming up February 12th through 15 and 26th through the 1st, as well as Igniting the Buying Conversation March 12th through the 14th and 19th through 21. Blair's Insider Notes are also available. There's a link that can be put in the chat for those. And if there's a way that we can actually put the link so that the people who are listening on YouTube can access it, that would also be wonderful. But for $20 or $25 a month, $300 a year, you get all the past historical notes from episode 318 going forward. So this one would be about the 10th one logged. And you get a lot of extra notes on the content here, going deeper dive with my models. So with that said, welcome to the 328th episode of the Blair Dunkley Experience. We are here to discuss my mind models. And on this show, we talk about mind models, which are simple thought frameworks to help us put names and labels to how we think. When we understand how we think, we can learn to think more effectively and create the identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable behaviors needed to finally break out of stuck states. My models have been extensively tested and proven to be 80% effective versus mindset, which is only 1% effective, according to research done February of 2020. My model skills, behaviors enable people to transform their lives intentionally. Your host for this evening is Blair Dunkley, the creator of My Models. I am your co-host this evening with certified My Model coaches Tim and Becky Graff. The BDE is Blair's free gift to you, and it's an opportunity to learn, experience, and practice my models in a safe, real-world environment. Personally, my models helped me overcome more than a decade of depression. They have positively impacted every area of my life, including my relationship with myself. So we look forward to learning together with you tonight, and we welcome you to the BDE. This is our third in a series of New Year effectiveness with my models. And tonight our topic is going to be how to overcome your blind spots and maximize your effectiveness. Tim, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Patty. Okay. So yeah, as Patty mentioned, we are on the third for the new year with effectiveness with mind models. And one of the things that I wanted to speak to tonight and to explore with everybody, and I want to pose a question. Um, Looking at back at 2024, so reflecting on the past here for just a brief moment, staying in the information side, right? And then now looking at this new year of 2025, I want to pose the question, what ineffective behaviors from 2024 might you address in 2025? Shane, can I pick on you? I'm
I was,
curious.
yeah, absolutely. I was about to type it, but
Awesome. What ineffective behaviors um in 24 might you address in 25 moving forward to be just a bit more effective in 25?
fear. So that, you know, what did you say, Blair? Future events appearing real?
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah. I don't from learning this morning's, the airplane ride. I know not everybody knows that, but the guy that knows what to do, he wrote the book, or the guy that actually knows how to do it because he flew the plane. But I know, I know what is going on. I'm still struggling to grasp the necessary process to implement the how.
And I
Okay.
know we talked a little bit about process this morning, but I want to lean on the habit forming part of that is the end result that I want to move people towards is creating the habit. And so process is critical. We can't build a habit without process. So don't get me wrong here, but I do want to get it so that we think about the process leading to a habit. I actually, again, today, Tuesdays, is a very full day with me, and I have a client that I work with, and I was working with him yet again. And today, um, he came in sliding back, but his backslide was sort of focused on the fact that he had a process, he knew the process, but he didn't have a habit. And he wasn't working at trying to build a habit. Just stuck in a why because his process didn't hold. And he's talking about a process as though it's a habit. And it isn't. It can't be yet. He hasn't built a habit yet. So that's the key here is we need to discover how to more effectively transition processes into habits. Anyway, Tim,
Isn't it, I
go
was gonna
on.
say, isn't it to say though, Blair, that a habit is an ineffective process that has
No,
been,
it's not ineffective or effective. It's just what you do repeatedly. And the research shows that about 70% of your daily behaviors are habitual. The
okay.
things you've practiced, whether that not they're effective or ineffective. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You've just done them in a way that keeps you locked in.
And
Yeah.
actually, now that you mentioned that, that does, the way you phrase that makes sense. It connected in my brain. Jeremy, you had a thought. Go for it.
So I don't know if it's an always thing, but sometimes you do something. I think Patty calls them leftovers, and maybe she did it this evening, but I missed it. But I'm wanting to potentially tie back to a conversation. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, where we were talking about attempts and maybe create a
Attempt
through line.
versus try. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that these happen successively over time, like last week and then the next week are somehow related. So I was wondering, is there a possibility of tying in that, or is that okay? I see your thumb. Thank you.
So ask me a question or ask Tim or
Okay,
Becky or anybody.
so I remember that I can't remember the metaphor or the actual storyline, but you were talking about someone. Oh, yeah, it was something. Maybe it was you going to the gym, and you were talking about attempting to go, and we were making the distinction between and in naming and labeling instead of trying. I think we were talking about attempting. And so I'm now hearing us talk about process, which I remember, spilling the water on the floor and the three glasses and your hand being a piece of content and all of that. So I'm wanting to kind of create the model in the way that I know how, since I'm so new to all this, by calling back what I remember, using the word attempt,
Go for
threading
it.
that into process leading toward a habit. So I
Perfect.
guess if I were to ask you a question, it would be, how can we create a story that we can wrap around this mind model that you're talking about, that we could, for me at least, that we could then, make it easier for that to become a piece of learning, if that makes sense?
It does. So part of the thing here, this is going to have to be a little bit of a unique piece for you and for each of us. So our stories are important, but it's because they're our stories. Now, well, actually, tomorrow morning I'm going to be those of you that are here tomorrow. I'll be diving into a little bit of this potentially on the 5-day business challenge, and that is how we make habits. And so, how we make a habit is not so much the thing that we're practicing doing, it's what we do to initiate that habit and what happens at the end of that thing that we just did in terms of bracketing the habit. Okay. Bracketing the process with identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable content slash behavior that we sort of smush in there, and we create this process bundle of content and process to deliver a behavior that we design as effective, that delivers a result that we want. And at that moment, when we get that result, how do we start applying that in our lives? Or what do we do with that at the time we get that result? So the story that I shared this morning, I don't know if it works exactly, but it was like recognizing, do we want to know what to do, or do we really want to know how to do it? And I'm going to shorten it all down just for time instead of telling the story. I'm going to say, do we want to figure out a thing called know what, or do we want know how? Jeremy, which is your best guess?
How?
How come?
Because how is related to now and taking action, and everything else is the precursor. So there's the what, how, and then the fourth thing that I can't remember.
No,
But
that was it.
although,
The who is you or somebody else, but primarily you. And you building a team, if it's the who and you're in business, you need to build a bunch of who's that can do the stuff for the what, and the how to
right.
happen so
So
success can happen.
I forgot the who at the beginning,
Right.
not after the how. So the how is the last step of the success formula process. And the
Absolutely
success
correct.
formula is a process.
Bingo.
Okay.
And it's a identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable mind
Duplicatable,
model
that's the third word. Okay.
that is the process, which is also a mind model. So it's both a what and a how. So it's who, what, how.
Right.
Okay. So you got it because we talk about know-how. We don't in as it's a colloquial term. I'm butchering the pronunciation, sorry, but it's a colloquial term. And it's there because it is a truism. We need know-how to get things done. Knowing what to do does not necessarily give us the how. Definitely when we're in looking for success, we may know what to do, but we don't know how to do it. And that's how come the mind models are as effective as they are, because the who, or sorry, the what and the how are intrinsically embedded in mind models. They express, when you learn them completely, like properly, evaluation. You know that you need to evaluate externally and figure out if it's effective or ineffective. And then you can evaluate to ask yourself, how effective is this? What are the parts that are? What are the parts that aren't effective? And what might I do differently next? Which is a balanced evaluation. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So you just gave a lot and I followed a lot of it, but I also, in my mind, we were focused on the process leading towards a habit.
Which is the bracketing.
The
Okay,
bracketing of the identifiable, relatable, and
identifiable, repeatable.
Repeatable, sorry, and duplicatable behaviors.
Correct.
Okay.
So we have to name and label them, whatever that is that goes before it.
And naming and labeling is like it's the pantheon, it's the umbrella above every other thing. Like you have to name and label before you do anything else.
Do you have to? No, you don't. But if you want to make it identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable, the answer is yes. Most people don't name and label anything. They just do stuff. And sometimes what they do works. But do you play a sport? Do you ever play golf?
I don't.
What sport have you played?
When
Tennis.
I was tennis, I'm very interested in. Yes, I don't play it, but I could talk about it with you because I'm very keyed in on everything that is happening, including Djokovic being like. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about the process of playing tennis and having a tennis coach.
Right, like Andy Murray.
Right. So I don't even know who the hell he is, but you do. Okay. So that's the important part. That's the important part here is Okay, so the issue here is simply this. A coach has to be able to break things down so that a player can identify what it is that they're doing.
Right.
Now, if you get a backswing and your racket was going through the air flat and you're trying to hit the ball with the edge of the racket, that's not terribly effective.
Right.
So you want to get the angle of your racket down. But even more importantly, you're taught in the few lessons that I got when I was trying to learn how to play tennis is how to take the angles that are on the handle. It's sort of an 8-sided
octagon.
Octagonal. Well, octagonal thing.
Yes, that's it.
And where each one of those breaks or edges in the racket should be in your hand.
Right.
So that you can know exactly just by how it feels in your hand where the angle that it is. Because you set it back a certain angle to get a backspin. You move it forward to get a head spin, a forward spin on it. You have it straight up and down, so it's a flat ball. It doesn't have any spin on it. All of those things are different shots that you want to be able to do it. Then you want to angle and make your arm swing straight through or
Right.
slicing down to
Right.
put more spin or less spin or all these
Right.
things down.
That's all naming and labeling.
Thank you. That's exactly my point here. All of that is named and labeled.
Right.
So a coach would name and label it. If you want to move ahead more quickly in your life, need to start identifying those pieces.
Repeating and duplicating.
Exactly. And you got to be able to grab the racket before you do the behavior of swinging it.
That's
Okay,
attempt.
taking the shot. Taking the shot is the key behavior here.
Right.
Okay,
but grabbing the racket before I've identified, repeated, and duplicated the proper swing is attempting.
Bingo.
Well,
no, it's all an attempt to get a perfect shot. All of these things come together.
Okay.
But most people just grab a racket and move it through the air and go, I did it. Well,
right.
Yeah, you did, but was it effective? Not at all.
So the habit would be when I'm not with my coach who charges by the hour, I'm going to the wall and I'm hitting against the wall because I get inexpensive, repeatable, identifiable, and duplicatable experience of the ball comes back immediately. It doesn't cost me anything extra to hit against the wall. The
Bingo.
wall is it's a free service.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So then in the process of moving toward a habit, where are we now?
Do you have a way that you can walk up to that wall and hit the ball so it gets within a target space of this much on an identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable basis? Do you know how to do that?
Well, that's a big question. No, that's something I would say is an expert level skill, because that's when you have that much mastery that you can get not only pick which side of the octagon on the handle that you need to have the ball in, but that you're going to place it there with the right, velocity. And there's a lot of things that come into play with that.
Exactly. But when you start breaking it all down, that's what you're practicing over and over and over again to create the habit.
Right.
You can't, because a habit is going to be, when you start doing it, you're going to consciously think about how you're moving your arm, how you're doing this, everything that the coach told you to do.
That's
you're paying
process.
attention to it. That's the process. But over time, you keep on hitting the ball, and all of a sudden, your target area that you're trying for, you're starting to get in it. Instead of landing in the target area once every 100 times, but now it's once every 10 times. Then it's once, and then it's, out of 10 times, you're hitting it 2 times, then 3 times, then 5 times, then 9 out of 10. Now you're getting it in there 10 out of 10 times, and you're not even thinking about how to hold the racket anymore because you just are.
But the vehicle of process that we would call that in sports practice is drills.
Correct. And the drills are to get your body memory down. Body memory is another way of calling it, as a physical
muscle
habit.
Memory, yes.
It's muscle memory. It's a habit.
Right.
And you do that. And so you've got a habituated behavior. And how can we go for a habituated behavior and all getting this into the muscle memory thing is because we get it to that level of expert mastery level, but we get it to a subconscious level where
that's
our
what
body,
muscle memory is known
bingo,
as. Yeah.
That drives it down from conscious. We don't think about how we hold the racket.
From unconscious incompetence to conscious competence.
Unconscious competence.
Right. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when we've got the habit. We just do it.
So is it okay if we shift from the sports analogy into like real life, real world, everyday opportunities with this? And Shane, I know Tim asked you like what was one thing that from 2024 you wanted to address in 2025. out of the conversation that Jeremy and Blair just had discussing like habits and things like that, I'm curious, what did you pull from that that might relate specifically to how you want to interface with fear in 2025?
Well, a lot of it is taking the action. Just related to most of you know my story of agriculture trading. This very morning, I'm up a positive pips, which is great. I call out in my mind and on a group call with the group I'm with that the market's going up. It's going to retrace back to the 61.8 and it's going to continue up. I fib it out. I mean do it perfectly. I mean it's perfect. I don't act on it. I don't take the trade. So I know what to do and I know how, but I can't take the damn action to actually do it. It happened 2 times in a matter of 15 minutes. Both were perfect trades, perfect knowledge, perfect analysis. My brain actually says, take this trade. Take this trade. My finger won't push the button.
So Shane, I'm curious, what resistance to that are you feeling?
My resistance is because I'm projecting my past losses onto this trade that I don't even take.
Mhm.
Okay, and how might you overcome that?
Well, Christy and I talked about it tonight when we both got back to the house, and I have to be okay with taking a loss in the market. I mean, it's not like I'm trading thousands of dollars at a
Correct.
time. It's literally a couple bucks, which is fine. But I got to get the habit, the practice to do this when the money gets larger. But so I have to be okay with the possibility of this trade that I'm about to enter could be a loss as long as my management of that trade is within my guidelines. But more than likely, with more certainty, this trade is going to be a winner because my analysis was spot on.
Okay, that's part of your problem right there. I
Okay,
have
thank
worked with other traders before, and they go after certainty. And you're going after certainty. You just said it.
Yeah.
But you didn't have certainty, you had clarity. You were clear that this trade was going to occur. It was perfectly set up. But we can't know the future. Therefore, we need clarity, not certainty. And the more that you hold on to certainty, the less likely you are to trade because you need the conclusion that you want. This has to be a successful trade. You can't project that. You can't know that that will or won't be a successful trade.
Can I share something here, Blair?
Almost just in 1 second. You have to test. This has to get into a test mentality, not a right wrong. Okay, thanks.
So not in trading, but in other things. Um, one thing that has worked for me and I've offered to other people is consider how you're framing what you're doing in your mind. So, is there a way that you can reframe what you're about to do so that you can pivot yourself out of that certainty? I get to test to see what happens. I'm excited to see what the results are. This has come up a lot for people who are running advertising on social media and they're got to do the right ad copy and got to have the right numbers and I got to have all the things and I'm so worried about putting money behind it. But they had to take a look at how they were framing the behavior that they were doing and how that specifically impacted the results they were looking for.
Yep.
Which it negatively, again, I had already met my goal for the day trading. It just frustrates me that my brain says 3 times, take the trade, take the trade, take the trade, and I fail to act on that. But
Are you evaluating right there or are you judging yourself?
Oh, I'm judging.
Right.
So
Can I just, I
Oh,
just heard something super crucial to this discussion that may be getting passed over.
Go for
Shane,
it.
Sure.
did you not just say you hit your goal for the day?
well, yeah,
Well, but
yeah,
that's a huge piece of information.
yeah, yeah.
What does hitting your goal for the day mean if you're still trading?
I like it too, Christy.
I love that.
What did she say?
She said, I like that.
Yeah.
She's on
So
YouTube in the other office. I mean,
Well,
I get that. I mean, I completely agree. Did I need to take the trade? No, I did not. It's just the fact that my brain says this is the setup. This is the strategy. This
so
is
can,
the technical. This is what you know. But my brain says take it, take it, take it. My finger won't push the button. And
well,
Good.
okay. Can we talk about naming and labeling here for a minute? You're
Yes,
calling it
please
your
go for
brain.
it.
You're calling it your brain, Shane. I'm calling it the devil inside. Because who's that guy that's still trading after you met your goal? I know you're talking about Forex because you said pips, right?
right.
Okay, I know a little bit about trading myself. So you know how to use the Fibonacci, you know all the skills, but do you have a trading plan? If you have a
Well,
goal, then you have a trading plan. So if you hit your goal, your job is to figure out how to stop, back away from the computer and finish your day and do something else. That's the issue, in my opinion.
well, and can I share I little insider information here? Becky and I both trade as well, Shane. We both trade Forex. And
nice.
last night I was trading. Okay. I had met, to Jeremy's point, I had met my goal. I had hit my goal for the night. There was another chart that came through, what you're talking about. I had all the stats on the screen saying, get in, now's the time, this is big win. And I was like, walk away. You met your goal. You're done for the day. No, I hit the button and it ended up going backwards and I lost all of my winnings for the day. So there is something to when you've met your goal, the more you get into the market, the more you are risking,
Yes. Oh
or you are
yeah.
putting yourself out there to get slapped and get hit. So to Jeremy's point, when you've met your goal, the rule is to you're done for the
Stop.
day.
and
So,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I was just going to say that, like, this is where behaviors, processes, and habits come into play because you're talking about the little red guy that still
Mhm.
wants to trade on my shoulder and the red guy that lost me my winnings last night that I had all day. And how do I reconcile that? I guess that Jung would call that the id, the one that wants to do all the desire and has no control over itself, right?
Mhm.
So I guess I'm just wondering how to link this back to what we're talking about making this an identifiable, repeatable, duplicatable process and not just a habit
I
or
think
a
you
habit.
just no. I want to make it into an identifiable, duplicatable, and repeatable, or identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable process that is a habit. And the habit that you identified spot on, Jeremy, is that Shane Justin hit his goal.
And Tim had as well. But
And Tim didn't walk away.
what about the part of ourselves that's not employing the mind models, that's all
Right.
impulse?
Exactly.
So would I be? I'm not that upset. I mean, yes, I hit my goal today, but other days I've watched trades go by that I don't get in because I'm.
Hold it, stop. You're giving yourself a why right now. This is all a disguised why. You're arguing this whole thing. Thank God I had my client piss me off today earlier because he was giving me all sorts of disguised whys. And all I did is spent most of an hour and a half kicking his ass around the block. So I'm good at giving out ass whipping, Shane.
So
So quit
would
that.
I be accept? Would I be upset, or would I be still stuck on this one trade, two trades that I didn't take today, even though I was already done trading? If those trades would have went the wrong way, no, I wouldn't. I'd be like, hey, good thing you stayed on the market because you got your goal and you quit trading. but it's the fact that the trades did
No,
exactly.
it's not the fact that, because now you're back in your frickin' why and you're telling yourself another bloody story.
Hey, do you want to talk to Tim? He already experienced what you could have had you entered those trades.
Oh, I've
Your
experienced
finger
a lot.
saved
I've been
you,
there.
but your fingers or your brain, whatever you're calling it, saved you from doing that, and you met your goal today. Today's a day where you met your goal.
And you're evaluating this and naming and labeling this thing all ass backwards because it's not an evaluation. You're judging yourself for going, I saw all the patterns, I said what it was. And you know what I'd be doing if I was you? And I've done trading as well. I'd go, hey, good job, Blair. Good job. You saw the pattern, you called it, you knew you could do this. Great work. And even better that you didn't take the trade because you hit your goal for today. Pardon me.
I said, good job, Shane. I'm happy.
Good.
Wrap it up.
May I just interrupt here for a second here? So we're talking about ineffective behaviors for 2025. We're talking about when we've identified and named and labeled. So Shane, what would be the replacement behavior that you would put into your process to test for, I'm going to say, for the incredible judgment that you place on yourself even though you've achieved your goal? Is you're still judging yourself. So is the effective behavior the future events appearing real, or is the ineffective behavior hitting the past with regrets that you can't do anything about?
Yeah, I mean,
The
regrets that.
self-judgment.
Yeah, yeah.
So what might you replace that self-judgment, self-criticism? What might you replace? What behavior would you replace that with?
Well, I need to just replace the. Well, I didn't take that trade, but I did recognize the pattern. I recognize what I wanted to see. Next time that comes up, I just need to take the trade.
No,
But I said,
no.
Can
You
I
are missing the fundamental point that Jeremy made.
can
well,
I
I'm not saying that I just need to have the confidence that okay, that play comes up tomorrow when I haven't hit my goal, I can take.
So Shane, how effective is it to just have that confidence? Let's just gonna have that confidence. That's all I need to do is just have the
Well, it's
confidence.
horseshit, Patty.
Totally.
Shannon is on the track that I wanted to get on.
Eyes to see your
Okay.
ineffective.
Eyes to see your own
Win.
win and effectiveness and look through your work with a new lens. So Shane, can you name and label what is your ineffective behavior?
I'm gonna say it's got to be FOMO because that's what evidently why I'm stuck in the fear of missing out because that trade went the direction I thought it was gonna go, but I didn't take it, so I'm stuck on the FOMO when I shouldn't be because I'd already hit my goal.
So
And so what is, and hold it 2 seconds. So what is the thing that you need to work on? What's the most important thing for you to discipline yourself with and create a habit around this?
Shut the charge down when I hit the goal.
Right. That's absolutely correct. Okay? Stop beating yourself up for a win. You'll never feel like you have a win, and you won that day. And you didn't celebrate. Shut down the charts, shut down your computer, walk away when you have the win. Walk away. And you'll start training your body and your brain when you walk away with the wins, and eventually you walk away with more wins than losses, and you start going, I got this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I 100% feel I'm on the brink of a positive explosion. Like
Exactly. But you
feel it.
can't if you stay there constantly waiting for it to either have a positive explosion, which you turn into a negative one when you're not trading because you've already hit your goal. You want to self-sabotage? Go out there, keep the charts open, blow this thing up.
So I'm looking back here
What
at,
happens
at the issue of replacement behaviors. I want to talk a little bit about Blair's 3-2-1 evaluations. Have you done any of those?
Not for a while, but I wrote her down. Thank you.
You're welcome. Tim, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Go for it, Jeremy.
Yeah, go for it, Jeremy.
You're muted, Jeremy.
Oh,
Can't hear
Jeremy,
you.
we can't hear you, Jeremy.
Not yet. Cannot hear you.
Still can't hear you.
Maybe try popping off and popping back on, Jeremy. Will that reset it? Okay, we'll loop back to you when you get back on, okay?
Okay.
One of the key things that I'm going to mention here is a question to Shane. Are you intentionally looking for a way to screw up?
It's just going there. Mm-hmm. I think he's gone. Oh, no, there you are. Okay. Everybody shifts when somebody gets on and off.
Am I what?
Are you intentionally screwing up? Are you trying to screw up?
I mean that I about really pissed Blair off there. I about said, why would I do that?
Nice catch. Nice catch.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to, and not even trying to do it to disguise why. So historically, I mean, that's my trading account. I go on a great run, build the account, and then I go down. Then I go up a little bit, but then I go down even more. So, there is definitely a level of self-sabotage. There's definitely a level of belief patterns that I'm not worthy of what I can achieve. But I sure hope it's not intentional, Patty.
Okay, so what part of that then is your story about you, about your screwing up? How much of that is story?
How much of that is a story that I tell myself?
Yes.
I mean, I mean, my account doesn't continually go up. I mean, I know there's going to be dips and valleys, but I'd like the dips to be way smaller, and the valleys would kind of keep peaking or keep breaking that peak. So my story is right now that I'm learning to be a successful trader. I'm not there yet. So
Part of being a successful trader, actually part of being successful in life is identifying when you're being successful and doing something about retaining that success. And with the trader, the one thing that does work extremely well is you run it up a little ways, set a limit, and then the rest, as you're running it up, take money off the table so it adds to your winning fund. Okay, so you just set that aside. And I actually create two of those in business. And I call them, it's a two 10% accounts I have. So 20% I take off the top. One of them is for me, and one of them is for mistakes or for shit that happens in life, in business, and whatever. And I cannot tell you how many times that 10% account that is for mistakes, errors, life, whatever, my insurance fund, I generally refer to it as, that saved my ass so many times in business. Okay? I've survived things that other people haven't because they never took money off the table. Okay? And you got to pay yourself first. Give yourself a win. And then set money aside when you do screw up or life throws you shit. Like I have. The reason that I'm here is only because I set money aside when I was making really good money for about a year there. Between my divorce and COVID, then I made money good, very good for a year. And then I've had a year basically of not being able to work almost at all, like very minimal relative to what I normally make. But I had and have great savings, enough to relaunch my business. And I think you've been there, Shane. The
Oh, yeah.
relaunch is looking pretty damn good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's only possible because I took money off the table.
Jeremy, you had something.
Yeah, what I was referring to, although I don't have my chat anymore, was what Shannon had said about being able to reflect on what's effective. And and by the way, Shane, we don't know each other so well, so I appreciate. I want to ask you your permission, or if you're okay with me, because I wanted to ask you a couple of things, because it seemed like, and I forget your wife's name. I'm sorry.
Christy.
It seems like, Christy, you're very tight, right?
Oh,
Like you're
100%.
very close. So I guess the question in terms for me was like how it is that when you hit your goal that you were that first of all that you didn't like, not that you're going to celebrate every time you hit your goal, but that I was just in my mind thinking like that you're telling Christy that you hit your goal and that you have that intimacy between you and your partner that says like I hit my goal, and that you let her know, and that kind of exposes that vulnerable like devil on your shoulder to like Christy knows I hit my goal. So if I'm still trading after that, then that's really like a big piece. So I'm wondering if somewhere between noting the effectiveness of hitting your goal for yourself and also sharing that with Christy, whether it's a celebration or an act of vulnerability between you and your wife, that like could maybe change your behavior, because now if you start trading after you told her, then it's like you got to tell your wife you lied or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, we do that, and it has happened, and she's listening on YouTube and
I know. There she is.
Oh, there it comes.
Yeah. So that does take place, Jeremy. We celebrate his wins. Good job. So proud of you. All the things. Then when he comes back in and he gets back on the charts, even though he doesn't need to and knows that he doesn't need to, and he gives it all back, I can completely tell on his attitude, the way his postures and everything. And so I know what took place. I wait for him to share with me, but it's hard for him because then he feels like he disappoints me and lets me down. So those things happen, not as often as they used to, but we do celebrate. And then that's where I struggle with not letting him know that he let me down, because he's hard enough on himself. So then I let him just be in that moment and say, well, you just have to follow your rules.
I'm
Blair?
just thinking about Tim and Becky talking about
we've been together
8-year problem with them.
We've been together since high school. We've got 4 daughters. We've got 5 grandkids now. One due soon. Another one. We're having 7 quick. Like
Anyway.
We live life together 100%.
Right.
It as a husband, it hurts me to tell me she is more right than wrong a lot of the time. Because that's a man thing, honey.
But But I thought that you were going to say that. That's why I was wondering about the provocative nature of where we're taking this. But in terms of like Patty and or Tim, who initially broached the question of how does 2025 become different, I think I feel like that we're right here.
Celebrate it. Celebrate the wins.
Or like, go take a walk with your wife or go take the dogs for, I don't know, like, what's different when you hit your goal that like sets it off and like deals with all that like anxiety that has you go back into the charts anyway.
I feel I'm gonna butt in again. I feel it goes back to the FOMO of missing out on the more that he could get instead of just being content with what he did get or his goal. Well, I know what I'm doing, I know what I see, but I could get a little bit more.
So
me.
what?
Well,
That's what
You've got to develop like the billionaires and the multi-millionaires that I work with. One of the weird things is that they always know there's more opportunity. Always know.
But
well, the chart will
but
come
this
back
is-
to life tomorrow.
But this is identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable.
It
This
is.
is right here, like ground zero. Like, so if you
Absolutely.
know that you hit your goal, then like what habit do you have in place that it's like step away from the computer?
He doesn't have a habit. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying that's what we're talking about in Patty's
I
framing.
agree.
Like that's what your opportunity in answering the question that was asked at the beginning of this call.
And again, it's a crappy excuse, but I trade with a group. I'm usually on a group call when I trade. So,
and the guy who's the leader of that
I'm,
group is also on this call too, right?
Sometimes.
No, sometimes, but yeah, not tonight. But like, so I may have got my pips earlier, my goal early, but I can't. I would feel guilty if like, oh, I got mine. See ya, you guys are on your own. And so I literally have to my chart, my broker chart over here. I've got
that's a why.
I have to shut it down.
Yes. Well done, Jeremy.
You just said okay.
I'm going to interrupt here. I want to ask about that story part and screwing up, sort of keeping you both safe and stuck at the same time.
Absolutely true.
Could you comment to that, please?
Sure. Well,
can I just name and identify two parts of the story, one being a husband and the other one feeling guilty to letting down my cohort for trading on my team?
Yep.
Lots of stories.
Lots of stories. And all of those are why he continues. And the why of the story has got him hooked.
And are they externally verifiably effective stories? Or are they internally self-sabotaging stories?
You want me to answer that? That's internal.
Yes.
That's internal. That's internal self-sabotage.
It's internal.
Exactly.
So even the basic 3 E's, which Shane, you could probably do in your sleep.
Yes.
Okay. The basic 3 E's. Do you need more than that?
No.
And so help others with their ability to read the charts and don't take the trades once you've got yours done.
Call up one of your group members and tell them about that you really want to help them take a trade because you can't anymore, and sit next to them and help them make an effective trade. I think maybe Blair said the same thing. I'm sorry, but that's
differently, yeah, but the same basic thing. Yeah, you got it.
Stay on, support the team, but yours is done. So
get off
and that's mentoring and leadership. Discipline.
Yes,
that's mentoring and leader. You're showing them that really shows how well you do what you do, and that supports them in a big way because then you're modeling, So
I have PC that I trade on. I have my Mac that this Zoom's actually on and other screens attached. So if I put my Zoom on trading with the other people on this Mac, as soon as I hit my goal, I can literally shut this computer off and still be present and help others.
Did you
Sounds
notice
like
that you
worth
had
testing? Maybe you could tell us about that next week, huh?
Did you notice your transformation here? That you had this sort of epiphany moment of how to behave differently.
Mhm.
The behavior is turn off my trading computer, focus on the Mac so I can't get to the trade in time and help others. You just constructed a transformational behavior.
It's even a laptop. I can just shut the laptop. I don't even have to push a button to shut off. I can just close it. And
Perfect.
everything goes away.
Yep.
Huh. Okay, I don't this is like 11 and a half, 12, 15 for me, but I don't want to hog the whole group. So I love you all. I appreciate you very much.
So speaking of, remember feedback with the other Tim? Like this would be a great moment for you to receive some feedback instead of like getting small and saying, I don't want to take up more group time.
Yeah, so thank you for that segue, Jeremy. Appreciate that. Actually, I was just going to open my mouth and share. Thank you, Shane,
Thank you.
for this because honestly, right now I am seeing a mirror in front of me, sir. I may deal.
No, you've got hair. I don't.
This whole call, I may have a very similar problem
On the flip.
on the flip. So I'm dealing with I'm seeing a mirror tonight. Like seriously, listening, I've been going through these exact same things that you're talking about. One of the craziest, I mean, you guys want to practice mind models, get into trading. Talk about using those skill sets constantly with the ebbs and flows of trading and when to get out, when to get in, ineffective versus effective and not past future, like all these things will it does a lot.
And I want to just pigeonhole. And Shane, thank you for being vulnerable enough to share so that we could walk through the process. Because I'm curious, Leslie or Brent, what did you notice about the behavior portion and the identification of something that was ineffective and what was necessary to create a potentially new effective process for Shane? And have you seen something like that in your own world? Leslie, I'm going to go with you first.
Tim talking about mirrors.
Oh, look, Shane, we have a few mirrors on tonight. Well done, sir.
2 mirrors so far.
You're not hogging the show.
This Shane, I hear you, buddy. I'm in there with you, and
Yeah.
it's everything that you have resolved has just shaken me into a new reality. I'm trading too. With the same group that Shane is actually one of my coaches.
This is very similar. This just has this vibe. Please forgive me, but my name is Leslie and I'm a trader.
It's a sickness.
Hi, Leslie.
It's
Honestly,
all I need now is for Brent. I mean, I'm not a trader. I know Shannon's not a trader, but I'm just waiting for Brent to say, my name is Brent and I'm a trader. And
Trading.
my name is Tim and I'm a trader. My name is Blair and I used to be a trader, but I'm not anymore.
We're part of a group too, Shane. I guess we must be obviously.
be a trader.
I'm a trader.
Jane too.
yep.
Jane is
Future trader.
So
My gosh.
I think
But
this
Brent, isn't Brent the buckless Youper?
No, he got his deer this year. He's no longer buckless.
Okay.
Jeremy
Leslie-
discovered Shane Daniels. Anyway, I want to bring this into a bit of a wrap up.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, but Jane Welsh asked Christy to please like the video. in YouTube. If you're watching it in YouTube, please like it and comment. So anyway,
All right. I wanted to mention something, and maybe Becky, you can give like a real tight summary of this. But with all of you traders here, I just want to put forth something that Becky shared with me once that might be effective is writing down, keeping track of where you are and how effective is that. So if you're making a new attempt, Shane, a date, closing the computer when I reach my goal, and then be able to look back and say, oh, how do I feel now a week later? What did I follow through on my promise to myself? Did I keep my promise to myself? Did I, don't you keep track of things, outcomes and things like that? Becky, is that your 3-2-1?
Yeah, so one of the things that I found extremely effective and people that I work with, I recommend a 3-2-1 in each area of your life. So trading, maybe specifically relationship, whatever area it is, so that you can start capturing your wins because it can feel like the world's imploded and everything is like raining down on you and nothing's working. But it allows you to do that external versus internal and actually go back and actually look and say, yeah, I did it again. I went back in on my trade when the little spidey sense said get out and met my goal and I just lost it all. Crap. But what other things are working well? And doing the 3-2-1 specifically in that area allows you to keep track of your trending effectiveness. Anytime you're wanting to put together a repeat or a replacement habit, doesn't matter what area of life it is, you got to have something different to do and to test. So if you're externally tracking that, it makes it a lot easier because now you're building a habit of tracking and evaluating. And it's not just in your head, it's not how you're feeling. You actually have data. The data doesn't lie. It is much more effective than the story that can be twisted and turned and inflamed and all the things to suit our justification, rationalization of whatever the thing is. Sometimes even keep us stuck from moving forward into success because it's different, it's change, it feels scary, we don't know, but definitely figuring out a process that works for you for capturing externalized data about what it is. So
Becky, could you summarize for Jeremy? I don't know that he knows the 3-2-1.
3-2-1s, 3 things that worked. Oh, are you good with that,
It's
Jeremy?
already been placed in the chat and I have it in my notes, but thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 3-2-1. And if you're struggling with 3-2-1, one thing that worked and one thing that you want to do differently, it can be modified if needed, but track it. And as we're talking about habits, that's one specific identifiable, duplicatable, and repeatable thing that you can do to help build other habits that are more effective moving forward.
by
Thank
the
you,
way, the habit of one of the things that's effective, I love the 3-2-1. That's part of the reason that I came up with it. It is so freaking effective. And in business, one of the things that I was having an argument with between my good guy and my bad guy on my shoulders here. And my bad guy was winning and I was losing because he was winning. But when I started taking money off the table and putting it in the frickin' bank account, I couldn't beat myself up as much because I had externally verifiable evidence. And that was huge. That actually maintained me this past year when I got sick. Because I had days where I felt like I'd lost it. Well, actually, that's a bit of a lie. I had hours in my days where I felt like I'd lost it. Not even a full day, because I could look back and just look and crunch my numbers in my bank account and go, nope, I've got it. You got to pull yourself back into the present, know exactly where you are. And I know my numbers. I have more than enough cash to recreate and restart my business in spite of the fact that I've been sick for a frickin' year. Okay, that's pretty good savings on anybody's standards.
Yes.
And it's externally verifiable. And when you do that for yourself, when times are good, you don't blow it, you save it. And then you've got the evidence when times are bad that you've had very good times and you can do it again.
Mhm.
Especially when you've done it twice before. And I've done it way more than twice before. But my second time when I did this and we went into a slump at Life Skills, I still wasn't out on my own yet. I was still at Life Skills, and I had saved the money in the company. We had the asset. It saved our ass so many times because of our 10% account. Okay?
Yeah.
10% becomes hundreds of thousands of dollars in a business.
Well,
Okay?
thank you, Blair.
That's it.
Are we in a place where we can begin wrap up? Anybody? Okay. Leslie, may I start with you? Would you like to participate with wrap up tonight?
Absolutely. Definitely a 10, plus 10. Invaluable discussion tonight, because yes, I am transitioning my business into doing more trading, and the interaction that Shane volunteered. Thank you, Shane, once again, for your invaluable content and willingness to share. So no, it was excellent, because what it has done is over the year of first starting with the Blair Dunkley experience, pulling me out of a very negative mindset into effectively using mind models, which I'm improving on every day, to realize things about my business that I want to change. And today it brought my concepts of what I want to change into tighter together with using mind models. It just really gelled together. So one thing that I highlighted here today was, I really highlighted it, was, hey, good job, Leslie. I did get
It is.
Your
Internet.
pros there.
He does it all the time you freeze all the time.
You said,
Oh.
good job, Leslie. I really.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I said, good job, Leslie. I did get 7 pips today, which was short of my goal, and I did not lose any pips. So
Good job.
So good
Yeah,
job,
right.
Leslie.
That's exciting.
Absolutely true. Good
I'm
freaking
getting there.
job.
Shane, I'm getting there.
I love it.
Thank you.
Well done, Leslie, and thank you.
Yep.
Jane, are you able to participate in wrap up?
Yes, I'm hanging in there. So awesome discussion tonight. Furthering I'm adding to the pieces that I've gained from before. And so and seeing a little bit more about focus on what's working. And when you're done, celebrate and move on. That's where I got out of the example tonight, which for me was like, oh, that's another step in the process. And that was key, is getting that process, is think of what the next step is, the process. And that way, and putting those words for it. You guys know that sometimes I struggle with finding the words, but
Yeah.
having those words even on my own project that I'm working on in here, by the way, I am progressing. Even though I've been struggling health-wise, I'm still getting a little bit done each day, which is better than nothing getting done. So I'm progressing and pleased with that. You know, so I'm giving tonight a 9.5 just because it was added on to what's always been good. So
Excellent.
thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Is the mind model called Anchoring Your Wins? What is the mind model actually called?
I
Is it
thought it would,
anchoring?
or acknowledging your wins.
Okay, because that is a mind model. Just
Yeah.
putting that in as a footnote.
Isn't it celebrate wins?
Celebrate your wins. You're right. Yeah.
Celebrate your wins.
Celebrate your wins is the mind model. Sorry. Slipped
Okay.
my mind.
Thank you. Shane, would you like to give us your wrap up tonight?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. 10 plus plus plus. Appreciate the platform to grow and learn. And even though I know Blair does it with love, but sometimes I get a little red faced when he yells at me. I mean, you know, but anyway, I appreciate the notes, the walking myself through, not walking myself, you guys walking me through stuff that, like, I know what, I know how, I now have a focused action step that I can implement moving forward. So,
And a specific behavior. And if you haven't figured it out, I'll tell you. Once you've hit your goal, computer lid goes down. That's right. That is the new celebration.
yep. Hit goal, slap down computer. I have it right here.
Right. Perfect.
Is that okay if we ask you about it next week?
Absolutely. Write a note.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did you give us your number?
10
yeah.
plus plus plus.
Yeah.
Yes,
10
I
plus
remember.
Put a book on top of it. if necessary.
Thank you.
My Bible. I'll put my Bible right on it, Becky.
Anyway, Lori, would you like to participate tonight in the wrap up? I cannot hear you.
Yeah, she's trying.
Yeah, I'm trying there. Yeah,
Okay,
I just wanted to say that was really great to see you, Shane, have your aha moment. That was fabulous. You just changed everything. Your whole demeanor just changed. It was wonderful. Anyway, yeah, it was great. Good conversation tonight. I'll give it a 9. Thank you.
Lori, it's wonderful to see you on again.
Nice
Thanks
to see
for
everybody
joining us.
again.
Jeremy, would you like to participate in the wrap up?
Yeah, I give it a big red maple leaf 10. And by the way, if we were talking about the Red Devil, I definitely think that Shannon is the white angel of the BDE. Anyway, yeah, I definitely, this is my best experience to date because I remember the times when I was early on, and I remember the time when I was in a hotel room on the night before a project, and I kind of like said, hey, I need this. And I stood up for myself and I was validated for that. And also, Shane, you're the one person I know the least, I think, and have had the least interactions with. So I feel really honored and grateful to have had access to communicate and connect with you and to, you know, hopefully help, you know, you in some way. And that feels good. That's another reason why, like, this is the way I love to learn, is by in community. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I have to say that your engagement enriches all of us. So
Yes, it
thank you
does.
for your participation. Miss New, are you able to participate in the wrap up? There you are, darling.
Okay. This is really interesting. I kept reflecting back on something I am working on at my job, and which is ending my classes on time. And when is enough enough? And can I just squeeze in a little bit more? And I want them, and I had a moment where our owner popped in to do some training for the front desk staff and had a really great conversation with me about that and shifting the perspective. Some of the things that we were talking about in terms of naming and labeling and how that can really change absolutely everything. But to alter the lens that I'm looking at my work through and to look at the room and to look at my work with a soft eye instead of such a tight, hard, like, we're going to do this thing. She really encouraged me to soften how I'm looking at things. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to have to go into a deep dive on how long is my now and coach this and that and 15 other things. And I really didn't think that the little bit of shifting that I did after the conversation with her would work. And then everything that you guys are talking about helped me go back and identify the process, because I did. Last night, I ended both of my classes right on the money. And I've never done that in the entire year and a half I've worked. I can safely say I've never, ever, ever, ever ended on time. And I was thinking about that when you identify it, and not just to like celebrate the win, but to use that part of the feedback formula to really let it trickle down and sink in, to let our effective behaviors really sink in, because it's not just, oh, this was effective or ineffective. I think if you bring in self, others, and situation, like you want a win for self, a win for others, and a win for situation. And when you put the computer down or end my class on time or whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't just win for you. It wins for whoever, maybe someone in your family, or for me, my coworkers or my students or the company, because then the structure flows better. Like there's wins all around. And so looking at it through the lens of self, other, and situation, really, it's not just about me. When I win, all the other things win too. And it's a little bit of a bigger perspective. And so it was really, for the whole conversation, even though it was about numbers and things that I don't participate in, it was fun to think about naming and labeling my own process and the parts of that worked for what I've been working on in my own growth in my job. And so really fun conversation tonight. And thank you to everybody for sharing, and Shane and all the things, because it's a really, being able to identify it and then change your, perspective and how it's applying to, it ripples out to other parts of life. So very cool. 9 for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brent, how about you? Would you like to participate and wrap up tonight?
Yeah.
Good.
I enjoyed with Shane, and then Jeremy did wonderful tonight. I just gotta say, recognizing some things, we did while working with Shane, and seeing that the why was a big thing, the story, and recognizing that and pointing that out. But two of the things I picked up from Shane's was the I have the one is intentionally like screwing up. Subconscious, like it's almost as if you're self-sabotaging, but you're intentionally doing it. You're expecting to have an expectation of screwing up, but intentionally doing that, so you sabotage yourself. So that's something that I'd resonate with. So that's something for me to focus on and see that. So and then setting your results, seeing the results you want and hitting that, and then just that's it. Like there's nothing more. Like I've done that before too, not in trading, but hey, I've hit what I got, but maybe a little bit more. I did so well right now. Maybe just keep going. And then it just opposite happens. You push it a little. Keep pushing, and then you get the opposite of the result that you were wanting to get. So yeah, but I'd give it a 9 for me tonight.
Well,
Yeah, that comment you made, Brent, I think is very insightful. It's like, is trading a professional behavior, or is it gambling? And that never enough, just one more, takes it more into the headspace of gambling, as opposed to, I'm a professional. This is what I do. I've achieved my goal. I'm finished. So whether you can relate to it as a professional or not, I really appreciate you bringing that point out, Brent. That was really really a great observation.
Very
So
insightful.
Tim, how about your wrap up tonight? Would you like to give one?
Yes, I would love to. And yeah, I just want to echo that, what you just shared, Brent, with it's just, yeah, you get into that gambling mentality if you keep at it. It's all about just, I mean, 0.01 is improvement. It's that little bit every day. And if we keep pushing and keep pushing, it does get into that gambling mentality, and we end up ultimately we risk slipping more into the judgment piece at that point, instead of just celebrating the win, recognizing it, and moving forward. Tonight was a 10 for me. I really enjoyed the conversation. Grateful for Shane, being vulnerable and opening up about that. I can relate a lot with what you shared tonight, and have gone through my own journey with trading and dealing with very similar issues and things with the whole trading journey. And so it really was shining a light on myself tonight through this entire conversation. And Jeremy, I will admit, you really worked for me tonight. You, sir, well done. Well done in noticing the processes and the different mind models, and jumping in there and calling things out and taking charge. You really did lead the discussion tonight a lot with your observations and your comments. And once again, you have brought a ton of value to this group and to the BDE, you and Shane both tonight. And it made for an excellent discussion. So thank you, gentlemen, both of you. And there was so many other amazing comments tonight. The conversation was excellent. But yeah, it was a 10 for me, for sure. So thank you.
Thank you. Blair, would you give us your wrap up?
Yep. 9.75. I very much enjoyed tonight. I really liked how we get connected through personal risking and sharing. And the level of risk, trust, and honesty that's building in this group is tremendous. And that byproduct of everything else that was being shared by you, Shane, and Jeremy, you risking to work with Shane, to go back and forth and engage, in spite of the fact that you don't know him well yet. You just got a lot of getting to know him well today, like tonight. So that's really well done. Super well done. Really appreciate the engagement tonight. And for me, being able to again sit back and evaluate how effective this is. Yeah, you are a likable guy. So there you go. Yep, definitely are. And that makes it effective when we start being able to create community and leverage and grow. And Brent, your comment there about, is this gambling or is this trading? And becoming a professional trader is not gambling.
Right.
Yet it is so much about creating the discipline to separate yourself from gambling into trading and seeing the patterns. And that's really what it comes down to. And mind models are all about noticing patterns and incredibly obvious patterns that people aren't there. And that's what mind models are, again, all about. It's about human behavior and human interaction and building a future for ourselves here.
Yeah.
So
Well said.
I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow morning again, because I do the 5-day challenge, and thank you for that. Hang loose or acknowledgement there, Shane. Yeah, you're looking forward to it too. I love what I'm doing there, and giving people the opportunity to explore mind models like this and go forward. So, hey, enjoy, have a great night, and do what you need to do. Patty, back to you.
Thank you. I found tonight to be both a lot of fun and very effective. I give it a 9.5. I feel excited when the group engages one another. The insights that come from that are always rich to have something real world to play with in terms of my models. So thank you, Shane, for making yourself available for that with that transparency and vulnerability. And that's what worked for me tonight. So, Becky.
I would also like to thank Christy for 1 second.
Yes, I was going to say that. It's so good to see her again.
Yeah.
I'm glad she popped on.
Yeah.
So thank you, Blair, for mentioning that. That had been in my mind.
She gives tonight a 9.5 because I told her that she was right more than she's wrong. So that's what she took away. That's what she took away from it.
And
Okay.
I believe it is recorded, so it can never be taken back. Anyway, so Becky, could you give us your wrap up and then take us out, please?
Yes, 9.6 for me tonight. I love watching people engage. Jeremy, thank you so much for leaning in and playing with Shane, and Shane for being open and allowing for this discussion and discovery to take place, and your level of authenticity. Like maybe your face gets a little bit red when Blair yells at you or calls you on stuff, but you're authentic, and it provides a great service to the rest of us to be able to hear how you're thinking so that we can interface and learn how mind models work in the real world, not just hypothetical situations. So thank you so much for that. And I loved your interplay with Christy as well. I have to say that was super fun as well. Tonight had a different energy, you guys, and it was fun and play and camaraderie, which was great. And I love this topic that we're talking about because so many times we get stuck in a rut because our habits, we've habituated something that's not effective. And when we can identify those pieces and then start to create a replacement behavior, shut the computer, Shane, put it down, put a book on top of it if you need to, right? So that you train yourself to be finished or whatever the thing may be. It's a very effective way to get to whatever result you're looking for, especially when you're identifying things that are not working. And it's a consistency in looking for those opportunities to innovate in your own life and create something new and different that works more effectively than what you've been doing. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Again, we're here every Tuesday night where we get to learn and discuss mind models. Again, if you are interested, Blair does have a study guide where you can get all from 300 and up, so 318 and ongoing. You can get a deep dive into topics that we're talking about. So again, that's $25 a month or $300 a year. You can go to blairdunkley.com/BDE Insider Notes and get it that way. And so please take an opportunity, because what we get to discuss here is very powerful, but is just scratching the surface. So if you get those notes, you go through them, you start seeing how it might apply in your life, and then join us on the BDE. It allows us to have these kinds of deep, rich conversations and experiences. And also, Blair is in the process of his current challenge. If that's something that you've missed out on this go around, please stay tuned. You're going to have an opportunity coming up. Highly recommend that you take every opportunity to get training and coaching from Blair, because what you learn and how to apply the mind models is what can help you innovate and enrich your life and get more effective in the areas that you currently want to see improvement in. With that, take care, everyone, wherever you're tuning in from, and we will catch you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And for those of you on the challenge, we'll see you